There was music earlier, but now I'm not hearing it. There was music earlier, but now I'm not hearing it. Well, I am more important. There was music earlier, but now I'm not hearing it. Well, I am more important. Oh, good.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
This is going swimmingly as always. Welcome everybody to episode 5 of Thunderballs Are Go. Volume getting me there. Al, nice of you to join us on
Hello.
The day when you're going to GenCon.
Yes, I will be leaving tomorrow. So
Very
I
cool.
go a little earlier than everyone else because I go to Trade Day, which happens the day before.
Any particular reason for that? Are you checking out sweet deals?
Well, it's meant for retailers, but it's also meant for educators and librarians. So
nice.
I go and I get to network with other librarians who have gaming in their libraries and circulating board games, and we're able to sort of swap information, learn from each other what's working, what isn't, what games are working, what aren't, and we get to demo some of the new games of the companies that are nice enough to provide those. So it's actually sort of like a work trip for a little while. So it's kind of nice.
Kind of like a busman's holiday is what we'd call that one in England.
All right.
Cool. Okay. Well, I think we had a pretty interesting week in the Dodgeball League.
A week that hasn't ended yet.
That has not yet finished. That's right. So let me just bring that up, and we can start to dissect that. Because what I think where we left it was that Dodge Another Day were leading the pack with a 4-0. No one else on 3 wins. We had Lethal Is Not Enough, Dodger More or Less, both at 2-1, Through to a Kill and License to Overkill at 2-2, and then the rest of the pack on 1X, Foils Are Forever on Her Majesty's Secret Outpost, catches Glory from Deathworld with Love, with the former 2 not yet having, the latter 2 not yet having had their rest week.
Right.
So Dodge Another Day still out there leading out. Still without a rest week or a loss.
This is true.
Yep.
So I don't appreciate that at all. I know Corey Bear reached out to me last week and was like, "Why you gotta hate on this?" I was like, "I'd stop hating on you if you maybe lost a game." And he was like, "No, I'm fine with the hate then."
Clearly putting popularity below victories, which is, that's understandable.
That's why I lose, so I can be more popular.
So we did have a little bit of tea sent to us. We actually have a couple of bits of tea, but I'm going to spill the second one within the context of the game in which it occurred, because I think the captains know about it, but I'm not sure how widespread this one got. But for the other one, in team chat this week, our captain told us we were on our own for a few hours as they were busy, and we should do our best not to screw it up without them. This is our dying hours, by the way. So the team on their last legs, and the captain goes off to do something apparently more important now. I mean, what sort of an example is that to set?
Not a good example.
Not a good example. So after berating them to their face, collectively for not putting Dodgeball above their family commitments, they settled down to their task. There was a mini revolution, apparently, during which the 6th draft player was self-appointed to Pirate Captain. They declared that the lone remaining player should commence the punching of everyone in the jimmies. That's a direct quote, I think. With the weakest member first, the weakest member. So said player, not to be outdone in the whole mini revolution thing, chose to throw your ball directly at the strongest player. Anyway, by the time the real Slim Shady returned, they've completed the match, sent our congratulations to the other team on their fine victory. So I think we can we can expect that final match clearly not going the way of the Jimmy Puncher.
No.
So thank you for that one. Again, as always, srdbtatler@gmail.com. If you have any juicy stories that you'd like us to read out, and just to add to the flavor and the narrative of the season, because it's always quite amusing. How's your team chat been this last week, Al? Has it been
It's
good?
Pretty good. It's mostly we've spent it a lot trying to figure out what Mighty Stig is doing,
I
and if
I think we might come
yeah,
to that later as well. Because your
that'll
match,
come up later. But that's a lot of our chat. We just sort of forming theories on what he might be doing. Like we imagine him just like maybe walking through a field, like smelling like flowers, just sort of enjoying the rest of the world, anything other than playing his dodgeball
playing
magic.
dodgeball, because your match is still not finished, is it?
Still not finished.
Still not finished. So we did.
However, he did finish his race for this coming week match. So
So
try and figure that one out.
so round 6 race complete. Round 5 game and involvement incomplete.
Yeah.
Fascinating. This is
Fun.
great stuff. OCD kicking in high gear with the screen sizes for Alan Ryan not being the same. Is that a big problem? Okay, let's assuage the CDO, because that's really what we're talking about here. Is that better? No, now we've got Al too small. I mean, obviously this is
I'm shrinking.
clearly critical. Oh, a little bit bigger. There we go. That's about as good as I'm willing to get it. I'm not a perfectionist.
So that's okay. I'm more of a grower than a shower anyway. So.
Okay, so let's go on to this week's matches then. So,
actually, I have one other little bit of tea.
Oh, you do?
To share.
Pray tell.
And this goes back to last week's show where we made a certain couple share the MVP award.
Ah, yes.
And there was a little bit of one of them was very disappointed that he had to share. The other one I feel like was also disappointed only because she felt like she deserved it all to herself because, and I quote, "I'm a closer, biatch." And my only regret is that I had to read that and I didn't get to witness that quote in like real time.
In real time.
I needed that in audio.
That would have been fantastic. I did actually chat with Chris. He was completely oblivious to the fact that he'd been caught. I think he just obviously he'd admitted that he'd just blanked it. Like amnesia had kicked in. He'd thrown his ball, got caught, and it's gone. Like that never happened. So
right.
Clearly, I had a perfect round. But yeah, no, that was funny. Ashton, money's always on Catch Bella in that scenario. Like every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Okay. So, on to the matches this week. Week 5,
right.
We've got License to Overkill. That's Alderin versus On Her Majesty's Secret Outpost. Captain Binks, the game that you're involved in that is still ongoing.
It's the game that will never end.
We'll move on to Foils Are Forever versus Dodger more or less after that. Then we've got Catches Galore versus Dodge Another Day. And finally, we'll round off with Lethal Is Not Enough versus From Death World with Love with Vori's team through to a kill sitting this round out. So, game 1, License to Overkill. So, game starts off, one Carlos is reunited with Bull Juan as the game begins, but he's only one of 2 outposters with the ball out. You guys didn't...
No, we weren't feeling very racy.
You weren't feeling very racy this time round, right?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. And as it happens, the Texan, so surprised at winning his ball, he immediately gives it away to Bahamut. And then just goes and sits down. He didn't fancy this match, apparently, Al, at all.
No. It is a motif that continues for the Texan during this match. No spoilers, but...
No spoilers. Bahamut, flushed with the success of his Jedi mind trick, and now eliminates Emily, whilst Al and Wingman Viserys take out Patriarch, Tuna Slap, and Bahamut himself. So... A pretty good turnaround at that point of the game there, Al. You got to be feeling good.
Little bit of revenge, little sort of equaling things out. We were feeling much better.
Now, Alderin, seeing the danger too late to save his 3 teammates, then summarily executes Viserys and yourself, whilst 2 zombie balls take care of Lady Stacy and Baggio. So it's now becoming a bit of a bloodfest.
Right.
Like, blood on the floor everywhere, people slipping over. And this is where the game, I think, takes a pause, because Captain Binks is now staring down the barrel of an Alderan and a Mighty Stig. Mighty Stig won his race. Let's be clear, he won his race.
Yeah.
And
Well, he won his race on like Wednesday or Thursday.
And he threw his ball.
Like a day and a half later.
But it's still not gotten to its target yet.
No, it is still going.
So the Stig ball is in the air at Binks. And it's a 2-on-1. So he catches Baggio's zombie ball and revives the Texan, who then immediately gets put away by Alderan. Immediately, like, sit back down, you're not joining in. And then Alderan throws and hits Binks. And everyone starts to celebrate before looking on in horror, because the Stig ball still isn't there. It's still in the air, right? So it's all over bar the shouting. However, Captain Binks he's walking off to the bench, doesn't even look, just catches it over his shoulder,
right?
Gives it straight to Juan, who springs off the bench like a gazelle.
Yes.
And that's where we're at, isn't it? We're currently at Juan.
So we're at Alderan and Juan, and Stig has a ball, I believe, being thrown at him from Viserys, who threw that ball days ago when he was still alive.
So this could this game break 2 weeks? Is that what we're saying?
I don't know, but I'm hoping by the time I get back from GenCon there will be a resolution, but I have no idea. I also have a sneaking suspicion by the time I get back from GenCon they'll be like, "Oh, we're glad you're back. You've been revived. Get back in there."
So yeah. Anyway, this game is kind of in a bit of a limbo situation. We can't award an MVP because the game's not over. And it's Juan and a zombie Viserys ball against Mighty Slow and Alderan. That's where we're at?
I believe that's where we're at, but I haven't checked recently.
Well, the spreadsheet was still saying that nothing was moving like an hour ago. So
okay, so we'll trust. I mean, checking the spreadsheet is like watching the slowest like car wreck ever.
You mean like test match cricket, something like that?
Yeah.
A game that can go on for 5 days and still end in a draw, and yet this dodgeball match is still managing to outstrip it for the paint drying aspect. It's fantastic.
It's spectacular.
Okay, so I guess we wrap that game up, Al, because we can't really do anything more with it. So it's still ongoing. We'll let you know when anything happens with that game. Game 2, Foils Are Forever, Captain Thestral against Dodger More or Less, Captain Ninja. So I did see Al, Chasmo in the pre-match warm-up just putting the ladle back, and oh boy, did I know we were in trouble. Now, Thestral apparently had summoned the goddess of labor or Labor Day. I think she was maybe conflating the two and saying that she went into labor on Labor Day and therefore all of the laborers belong to her. But whatever happened, Slavic got sent for an early bath immediately. He was sat down with impunity. I then responded with the elimination of Iman because we don't want her left standing at the end.
Never leave her last.
And then I misread the situation. I thought Thestra was giving me the throw at me eyes, and so I threw the ball at her. Cranky maybe afterwards guided me correctly and said, no, those weren't throw at me eyes. Those were I'm a catch the shit out of you eyes.
It's easy to get those confused, though. I can see how that might happen.
Yeah, and basically that's exactly what happened. I got caught, and I was sent for an early bath too. So the mid-game was dominated, though, by a flurry of eliminations. We saw Cranky Day double-tapped whilst Chasmo went to work on Sarah T, and she'd wiped up the poop deck pretty cleanly. And then Chasmo took out Clever Missy and Seabus, but not before the latter could snap off a hit against Tatiana. And so now we're there. It's all down to Captain Ninja. So, he's got some balls from having been passed them from teammates, and he throws a triple threat. Mm-hmm. So one at each of the surviving players: Chasmo, Dusto, Dakaran. Now, the Facebook thread will have you believe that Dakaran and Dusto were felled. Wind forward, and he catches ball 5 to revive Slavic.
Mm-hmm.
Then finally gets caught by Chazzy, and Slavic gets all his balls. Now, Slavic's got 2 balls and just a Chasmo to deal with. However, Dakaran, who's been away much of the week on a private matter,
right?
He pipes up in his team chat, "Why have I been eliminated? I haven't yet played Ninja."
Uh-oh.
So Ninja's posted that he's won.
Mm-hmm.
So an investigation takes place by the commissioner, and it turns out that Ninja did play a game, but it was against Dankaran.
Oh.
Not Dakaran. So
should we point out that the man who has too many N's in his name added an extra N to someone else's name and challenged the wrong person?
Chasmo at the beginning of the match did win his match, his race match against Ninja, and then typed like a bazillion N's. So I don't know if it's correct or not. I'm a blame Chasmo for this one. I'm gonna pin it on him for infecting our captain with too many N's. He was quite ill this week as well. Like he's been under the weather, so it's easily done. But in our chat, he did say that he said Dabkaran down. So at one point, I was like, is it like Dankaran or is it Dabkaran? Like which player did he beat? I don't know. But either way, Dakaran was not eliminated. There's still a throw out on him, and technically, even though our game is done, there's a ball still in the air that will be swept up later.
So, while this did cause a lot of confusion for the game, I feel like it has created an excellent game within a game where now we just start adding random ends to people's IGNs and make new names for them.
Yes, I did see a few of those. There was Seabuns Ripper, which I quite liked. There's Corny Bear. I don't know if you saw any others that you were particularly fond of, Al?
Seabuns was my personal favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really hope other people join in this trend and send in some good names with an added N in there.
Yeah,
and bonus points if you send a challenge out to that new name and find somebody.
And actually find someone, because the thing is, he did play the game. We had a "You Have Won" screenshot against Dankaran, so he totally played the match against Dankaran, and he did beat him, but it was not Dakaran. So
Cranky points out Yarbona. That's another great one.
Yarbona was one I was steering away from, but now that Cranky Day has brought it up, Yarbona is another favorite of the captains. So yeah, I guess the lesson there is, keystrokes. I'm for one, I'm terrible with my fat finger spelling errors, but super important to stay on the dodgeball and make sure that you do send it out to the right person.
Also, just as a helpful hint when sending out challenge, make sure you don't accidentally hit the space bar first and make a space at the beginning of the challenge name, because that will throw you off also.
Yeah, although
I'm going to tell you how I found that one out. Just know that it also exists.
And did that result in a game? Or
no, because it kept coming back as
player could not be found. Yeah.
But spaces do count.
Okay. So after all that was said and done, Al, who's your MVP for the match that technically finished but is still got a ball in the air?
So I wanted to give it to Ninja just because he's created the new add an end game, so I feel like that was worth it. But since his team didn't win, we got to give it to Chasmo.
He
won
played
his
well
race.
again.
He had 3 hits. He had a catch. He had 2 dodges. He was standing at the end. He was, he was the MVP.
The Donut Destroyer, super consistent player. Certainly this season anyway, but I think in previous seasons as well, he's been a solid bet.
Yeah.
So we'll move on from the nth disaster, and we'll go on to game 3. And this pitched catches galore versus Dodge Another Day. Corey Bear and Yarbs heading off here. So Jimmy G, talking about him at the start of the game again, clearly a Cobra Kai initiate. He wanted to strike first, strike hard with no mercy, and he benches Markbot 3000 for a really strong opening salvo.
That's a pretty strong player to take down immediately.
Yeah, it's showing intent, right? And then meanwhile, Steph is audaciously trying to mind trick Kincaid that the SR community has in fact banned middle row, and that there will be no more vet pilots. She's rewarded by a penguin flipper to the face. Penguin Army showing absolutely no comedy sense there, just cutting her head off, like she was trying to muscle in on the Arctic Circle. And that led to Corey Bear and Penguin going hunting for a luxfish. As Corey eliminates him, he's then immediately revived by Sturrock, but lands and falls foul of Penguin Army's trap and is sent straight back to the bench again. This season, I'm not sure I've seen in any other season this many balls to the face of players returning off the bench as there have been this time around. Like it's almost a synaptic reflex.
We're getting a lot more catches this season, I think. We'll have to check with our statistician, Cranky Day, but it seems like there are a lot more catches this season. And I don't know if it's just people are playing more volatile formats or if we're just all getting better at differential and playing dodgeball, that it's happening more often, or maybe this is just an aberration year.
It could be. I don't know. But, I mean, this game certainly had a couple of them. Rip then takes out Jimmy G and John Oran, as Sturrock yet again is on brand this game, catches galore. He makes another catch and revives Simply Steph. Now, Al, what's black and white and red all over?
I'm going to go with a freshly stabbed nun.
It's good, but it's not right. It's actually a freshly hit Penguin Army after Sturrock catching him, then dispatches the Arctic Dweller with his nanobot swarm. Oof. Now, I did see a little discussion from Corey's team here, and they were feeling pretty happy with the fact that Penguin Army had been caught both this round and last round, and the choice had been taken to not eliminate him and leave him on the board. That smugness, ultimately, you know, whether it's well placed or not, certainly in this case, Penguin Army just getting benched straight away anyway. So maybe Sturrock was so confident that he was going to take out the Penguin that he was happy to revive Steph. So Lux is brought back to life, pulling a roll-in par here again. As Yarboa throws herself in front of 2 balls at once. She catches one, but she does get eliminated by the other one. So another selfless captain action there, heroically throwing herself to the bench to save a teammate.
Leading by example.
Leading by example, absolutely. And then our heroic Sturrock was soon to be put to rest by the evil Zim 108. So Lux, his few options left. He realizes Kincaid isn't throwing his ball any time before the next Ice Age, and attempts to knock him into it, but is unsuccessful, and seals his own fate as Kincaid easily catches that ball to end the tie. So this was an absolute beating, this game.
Yeah,
I think there were 3 eliminations of Dodge Another Day, but 1 revival. So they were left with 5 of their 7 members. And, you know, there weren't, apart from Sturrock catching, there wasn't a lot of action back.
Right.
And this is now, Dodge Another Day are now 5-0.
See? He's still choosing to win instead of being popular. So
yeah. It's going to come back to bite him at some point, but this week is not that week.
No.
So who is our MVP for this match, Al?
I am going to go with, I think, Zim. I mean, Kincaid had a good match, but very low actual games played.
Well,
Zim
he
played a lot.
didn't throw a ball either.
I know, he just sort of sat there on the ball. So we're giving it to Zim. He won his race. He got 2 hits. He got a critical catch, and he had a couple dodges. It's got to be Zim.
Yep, and if I remember rightly, looking at this match, like all the Dodgers were fairly close in their rankings. They all had pretty similar results, but I think Zim coming in at the crucial time there.
Right.
Our last match, Game 4, Lethal is Not Enough Darklighter versus From Deathworld with Love's Wivix. So things I learned this game. Bork and Beans is now so desperate for people to throw at him that he's literally begging every single member of the opposition to throw at him.
You know, maybe if he just lost more games, people would want to play with him more.
Yeah, I think there's a
It's
lesson
that
there,
same thing between winning versus popularity.
Yep.
Becoming
Everyone
a team.
just not wanting any part of the B&B.
Yeah.
I think trying to count the Bs has had a detrimental effect on MTG IRL because she appears to have lost the ability to count. Actually, missing Lethal against Grandma could have put her away, and then didn't. It just turned into a miss. Guianos learns why no one threw at Bork because he got caught, and then Sato got hit. So it's kind of Simon's fault that Sato got benched because he should have known better. All of the above basically left PC Load Letter and Risker against the entirety of Lethal is Not Enough, like a whole team staring down at those two. And after the Mystic accounted for last week's Moneyballer, it was left to Jason to totally derail the thread. Now, I'm not sure if the baller formerly known as Ass Clown had been drinking. My calculations, it took him 3 attempts and 2 reminders from the opposition to post his victory over Artemis correctly. And then he slips and slides and avoids several throws, but finally he's caught as Yoshi Beans wins the match with a catch. And that's a clean sweep, Al. I don't think, I could be wrong, I'll check the archives, but I don't think we've had a clean sweep this season so far.
I don't think we have either, but we'll have to double check on that.
Now we had a game last week where there were 15 dodges, and I'm not certain there were that many actual throws in this whole game.
Right. This one was a lot more efficient.
A punishing match. And our MVP, Al, for Game 4.
It's got to be Ride the Beans.
Yep, that sounds right.
2 catches, and he was still around at the end of the match.
Yeah, and so maybe his tactic of begging for balls is working.
I've seen that backfire, but yes, begging for balls.
Now performance of the round, Al. Where does this one sit this week?
I think we're gonna have to go with the Donut Man or the Donut Destroyer in this case.
Yeah. It's a good call.
Yeah, 3 hits, a catch, 2 dodges, still alive at the end of the match. You know, took over that game. Yeah, gotta be
disgustingly consistent and quite a nice guy as well. So it's very difficult to dislike the fella.
You can dislike anybody if you try hard enough. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the name of my memoir.
You can dislike anybody if you just try hard enough. By
That's right.
Al. Now, the Moneyball Award, Al, goes to the player whose performance for the round provided the most value compared to their draft position. I don't think there's any doubt where this is going.
No, we've mentioned him twice already in this segment as being a runner-up, and this week he finally got it all to himself. It's Sturrock. He was a 6th-round pick for Yarboa, and he got a hit and 2 catches. That's an excellent performance for a 1st-round pick. And so to get that out of a 6th-round pick, that's definitely money.
And being 2-2 and then 1 on this award 3 weeks running is super consistent. And maybe a player who in future seasons, if they choose so to partake, will be maybe bumping up that pick order a little bit.
Yeah.
So that leaves us going into round 6. Down at the bottom, the strongest teams holding everyone else up is From Deathworld with Love and Catches Galore, both 1 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
We've then got On Her Majesty's Secret Outpost and License to Overkill, who are at 1-2-1 and 2-2-1 respectively, because that game is yet to finish. We've then on 2-2, we've got Dodger More or Less, Through to a Kill, and Foils Are Forever. Lethal is not enough at 3-1, and up at the top of the pile is Dodge Another Day, 5-0.
The extremely unpopular Dodge Another.
The extremely unpopular Dodge Another Day, not getting invited to any parties anytime soon.
No.
Until they learn to lose.
That's right.
So that I think concludes our round 5. Now round 6, round 5 not being complete. Who knows when round 6 will finish? But you're away at GenCon all week. I doubt we'll be doing it this early in the week next time. We'll probably be kicking it around the end of the week as per normal. So it's going to be like. It's going to feel like almost 2 weeks by the time we get around to another one, but it's going to be at the end of as round 7 is drawing to a close.
Honestly, I'll be spending a week at GenCon, so it'll feel like a month by the time I get back.
So if I got the link again? Yes, I have. I'm just going to pop Al's article again there in chat. That's Al's article about playing in the physical, playing in paper, and how different it is to playing on the app. There are things to look out for, things that you shouldn't be doing, like looking through your remaining deck to see what's in there. Although it is still okay to look at your opponent and your own discard always. But I don't know if they're going to do something different with COVID, or if they're just going to. I've seen Magic tournaments where they've just been like, no, you can shuffle your opponent's deck, it's all good. But probably taking hand sanitizer is going to be a good plan.
Yeah, I'll find out this week. I'll be playing in the Legends tournament, and the other thing is it won't be run by Wise Wizards, so they've got an outside company they've got running it for them. So it may be looking different just because it's a different company running it. They might have different rules, different things going on. We'll find out, and maybe I'll come back with information, or maybe I'll keep it to myself until after Origins.
That's good. But yeah, if you're going to GenCon, I'm sure you can tap Al up. I'm pretty sure there's going to be an SR community group meeting at some point. You can find that in the Facebook group. If you're going to GenCon yourself, have a great time. Enjoy it. Do well in the tournaments, and if not, have fun.
Yeah, that's the important part. Have fun.
Absolutely. Why
also, try not to lick anybody's faces this year, because it's
in previous years, I believe that has not been off the cards. The great Jim was often one for getting physical with faces, but I wouldn't recommend that this year.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But we will definitely be hoisting a few drinks in Jim's honor.
100%. Yeah, Jim was always a big face at these things, and he'll be sorely missed. But anyway, I'll have a great time at GenCon. Good luck to you and everyone who's going there. We'll see you for round 6 of Thunderballs Are Go and the Star Realms Season 7 Dodgeball League next time. It's good night from me, and it's good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.